Came to Miami in April 2010, and I usually sum it up by saying that I came for what I thought was love, but the love for the city kept me here. So when I first moved to Miami, believe it or not, I was not a fan. It was a huge difference, pretty big culture shock coming from North Carolina, having to kind of acclimate to so many different cultures, so many different languages that are spoken here. I just really had to adjust. Also kind of getting used to the lack of Southern hospitality, I guess you could say, or at least what was different from North Carolina. So, you know, in North Carolina, people say good morning. They open the doors for you. Here, I was greeted with horns blowing as soon as the light changed. So it was a huge, huge difference. And when I first moved, I actually managed 3 different spas here in Miami. So I opened 2, managed all 3, and did a lot of commute back and forth. So it really kind of allowed me to get to know the area. But it wasn't until I actually went to the Calle Ocho Festival, the first year that I moved here, where I actually kind of started my love affair with Miami. So just being there and just seeing just Cuban culture celebrated to its fullest. So many different variations and shades of people, so much laughter, music, laughing, just the food. It was just something that really allowed me to see a different side of Miami. And from there, venturing through the different neighborhoods, falling in love with Wynwood, just going to the beach. I went there very, very often with it being in my backyard. And just witnessing all these different facets of Miami really helped me to learn to appreciate it even more. It was 2018 where I happened to lose the job, and I went through a lot of other personal losses, family, divorce. It was a lot that happened back to back for me. And I was like, okay, how can you pick yourself up from this moment and just kind of keep moving, pressing forward to make sure that you are doing well for you and your daughter? And it was a conversation that I had with my mom about family coming to visit Miami. It wasn't an out of the norm conversation. People came all the time, but I always got asked these top 3 questions: where to eat, where to stay, what to do. And in that conversation, this epiphany just happened. This light bulb went off where I was like, oh my God, I can start a business around this, like showcasing Miami and allow people to really live like a local. So that was pretty much how Key to MIA was created. And my name just happened to fit the mold. So my name is Keymia, but Key to MIA, it just seemed to perfectly align. And in 2019, I started the business, and here we are today. With Key to MIA, the whole premise is to really take you beyond the beach, to really experience Miami like a local. So I have 3 signature tours that I do. My Wynwood tour, which is an art tour, Key to My Heart. Then we also have the Calle Ocho experience, going back to my first love here in Miami. And we also have a Black History tour, a walking tour in historic Overtown. So that one is called Melanin Miami. Outside of that, the pandemic allowed me to kind of pivot quite a bit and to do virtual experiences. So one of the most successful ones, which we still do today, is actually Taste of Miami. So you get to meet with a chef virtually. We curate a whole recipe for you or menu. And then far and wide, you can really get together and just be able to create these culinary masterpieces with a chef in real time. My favorite tour, I would have to say, out of the 3 that we have that are signature tours, would be Melanin Miami. I feel often people only think of the Latin influence that's here in Miami, which is great because it has played a huge role in shaping the city that we all know and love. But oftentimes I feel the Black history here in Miami gets overshadowed. And just being able to showcase that history and celebrate not only the successes, but also talk about some of the struggles, and to really talk about how this particular neighborhood, historic Overtown, was thriving. It was known as the Harlem of the South in its heyday. to be able to see some of these historical landmarks, to break bread together through soul food, and to see these historical gems, I think is really important. And even to the inception of Miami, most people don't even know that the first name on Miami's charter is actually a Black man by the name of Silas Austin. So sharing those experiences, sharing that history, I think is really important so that we don't lose it. So Key to MIA also does this really cool thing called bespoke tourism. So we can basically curate your experience based on what your interests are. And one of the biggest clients that we have for that are a lot of our corporate companies, mostly for diversity, equity, and inclusion, but also to give their employees something different to do. So the most recent one that I actually did an Art Deco and food tour on the beach, and we were able to learn about the Art Deco architecture, but also went to some of the Michelin star restaurants here in Miami. Amazing experience. So not only are you getting to enjoy a lot of the culinary components, which also makes Miami amazing, but you get a lot of historical context and just really get to experience Miami again like a local. Oh man, that's a tough one. Just because Miami has such a diverse atmosphere. There's so many different things that you can experience. But if I had to give you a few of my favorite locations, I would definitely say Smith & Webster. I'm a foodie, I love food. And some of the best food I've had here in Miami to date has been at Smith & Webster. So it's in the North Miami Beach area and is owned by former NFL player Stark Smith and Kayvon Webster. And Starks actually is a food blogger now. He goes by the Hungry Black Man and travels across the U.S. exposing you to some amazing restaurants, Black-owned restaurants in the areas that he visits, So definitely want to check out Smith & Webster. The atmosphere, as I mentioned, the food is amazing. The drinks, they have a lot of curated drinks for you there, so can't miss. Also Milos, which is on the beach, Greek restaurant, but what most people don't know, and it's kind of a local gem for you, is that you can actually do lunch there for about $32. So I would definitely try that out. Outside of restaurants, I am one who loves adventure, so there's actually trapeze that you can do in downtown Miami. It's the Trapeze Company, Miami Trapeze Company, I believe is the name. And then also ATVs. So most people have no clue about Miami's countryside. If you do Miami ATV rentals, they take you on this amazing experience. I believe you can start at age 12, so the kids can be included, and they even bring you to this amazing sunflower field. So most people, again, have no idea about Miami's countryside, but they really expose you and introduce you to some amazing things. So since I have lived here in Miami, I have seen so many changes. I can specifically speak to historic Overtown. So when I moved here almost 13 years ago, I was told, do not go to Overtown. That is one place you don't want to go. It's on the first 48. Like, all of these negative things were told to me about Overtown. But just to see the growth and progression over this time span, the things that are being built there, what the commissioners are doing to really make sure that the community has what they need to be able to flourish. And even with my tours, just being able to kind of expose people to the Harlem of the South, just seeing the growth and expansion has been a tremendous thing there for me specifically. Being able to walk those streets that I was once told to never go to, and to be able to showcase that beauty, I think is something that's amazing. Also with Little Havana, just being able to see the transformation there and how people love coming to the area. It's a cultural gem for us now. Those two areas specifically, I would say I've seen a lot of growth and change. With my business, I would say even being able to have these tours once again in these areas, I think kind of contributes to that change. Again, once people were told to never go to a lot of these places, and now being able to really expose themselves to what is in these areas, to be able to listen to a jazz brunch at Red Rooster on a Sunday, to be able to go to Ball and Chain and dance salsa, I think is something that is just truly, truly important with what I do, and being able to kind of help in that change and usher it in. And with those changes, I'm actually expanding on some of the tours that I'm doing. So in Little Havana, we do have the Calle Ocho experience, which introduces you to Cuban coffee, to Cuban ice cream, Cuban everything. But now you're going to be able to also partake in salsa lessons. So it's something that people ask quite regularly, and being able to include that into the tour and promote a lot of these local businesses that often are overlooked, I think is very, very important. So I'm very excited about that.